Hello dear audience, hope you are having wonderful time. Today we are going to read an essay, Teaching English is not a piece of cake. Teaching any language is not easy. Even learning of a language takes quite a lot of time, let alone the secondary language, which one has to learn first and then teaches it. I would say that the job of being a good teacher of any language can be compared to any of the difficult tasks of the world. But English, it has got its own behavior of idiosyncratic nature. First of all, the language English is famous as a sound language, not a letter language. It means many of the letters in the language do not have a one-to-one correspondence with the sounds they make, as we have the patterns in other languages like Khowar and Urdu. The Urdu letters will give the same sounds as they are represented, but it does not happen with English. To take a few as examples, the letter C would sometimes give us the sound S, as in the word cement, and other times it gives us the sound K, as in cat and car. So by only working on spelling patterns of the language, one could hardly be able to get even the actual pronunciation of words. For that purpose, one should go through the sound patterns or phonology of the language. There are certain rules which provide some help to the person understanding things, but the rules are also not very hard and fast, as there are always the exceptions, like the word facade. F-A-C-A-D-E is pronounced as facade, not facade, and the word R-E-N-D-E-Z-V-O-U-S is pronounced as rendezvous, not rendezvous. And adding to the difficulty, there are the unrealized sounds and the intruding sounds. Sometimes an existing sound is not realized, but at a certain conditions, a sound which is not actually present anywhere is fully realized. For example, the sound R at the end of the word letter would not be realized when followed by a consonant, but under the condition that when a word starts with a vowel sound and the preceding word also ends in vowel, the sound R is added there from nowhere, taking the name the intruding R. But as the greatest of the playwrights, the great Shakespeare, says, when sorrows come, they come not in single spies, but in battalions. The learners of English face the unintelligible spelling patterns of the language, having the silent letters creating dilemmatic situations for them. Sir Javed often narrates a story of a local Boeotian who was trying his level best to learn English language. After some time, when he thought himself to have acquired some knowledge of the language, he asked his friend to test his English skills. One among the friends who was well versed in English asked him to spell the word psychology. The Boeotian started with letter S. The friend told him that he was not right. He started with the letter C, but he was once more reminded that he was not correct. When he found out ultimately that the actual spelling of the word psychology starts with P, not with the letter S or C, he laid down arms by declaring that English was beyond his capacities. Only learners of English language consider themselves fortunate when they meet the English language teachers, as the real problem starts when one comes to translate an English text to a target language, which also to a non-native one. As to translate something, one has to be an expert of both the languages. One should be aware of every nuance of both the target and the source languages. For example, the Pakistani English language teachers, specifically the Chitralis, face myriads of problems when translating English into Urdu, as both are foreign tongues for them, and on the other on the other, the expectations of people towards the English teachers are very high. People expect them to understand everything about English, and excuses are never accepted at any cost. So the teachers of English are in real trouble. Teaching a language to non-native speakers is a very difficult job, especially when someone is following the grammar translation method. It becomes a real hard nut to crack, as translating something from one language to another means transplanting the whole idea from one culture to another. For the purpose, alternative words, calques, and sometimes borrowed words are used so that the idea could be transferred as it is to the target language. Same happens with the translation of the English language. If the teacher don't have any alternatives in the target language, they would either go for the borrowed words or towards the audiovisuals. But if they are not fortunate enough for having the facilities, then they will manage to transfer the concept on their own, irrespective of how good or bad they would perform. To illustrate the idea further, I would share a story of my own with you. After I had completed my master's in English literature and linguistics, I was hunting for jobs to make my living on my own, as I did no more want to be a burden on my parents. So I got the offer of teaching general science at one of the private schools in Peshawar, Academy of Desh. I am not taking name of the institution. I happily joined the school, but it came to me before the penny dropped that I had to teach the students of 4th grade, and they did not even speak even a single phrase of Urdu. I was also a beginner of the Pashto language, so the task seemed quite not possible. But having no other option, I had to tackle the task willy or nilly. One day, while I was teaching the solar system, there came the word comet in the lesson, and I had to explain it to them, the 4th grade students. I said it's called Dumdar Sitara, which is the translation of comet in Urdu. They asked me, "Sir, Dumdar Sitawai means what is the meaning of Dumdar?" Now I did not know what would be the Pashto equivalent of the Urdu Dum, tail. So I drew the picture of a horse there on the blackboard and asked them about the tail, pointing my index finger at it. All of them shouted, "Sir, Lakay, a tail, that's a tail." Then I told them comet was a Lakay wala story. It means comet is a star having a tail, as it is called in Urdu. They got my point. That day I got reminded of the catchword of one of my teachers, "Beta, teaching English is not a piece of cake." I agree with him now. Thank you very much, dear audience, for bearing with me, and if you want to listen to more of the readings, kindly subscribe the channel, and if you want, press the like button. Thank you very much.